just ask the question again?
Hi, yes. Welcome everyone
Hi.
to Amazing Plantz4mationz. I have an amazing guest here. As you can tell, I like the word amazing. I'm just so blessed to be here with a new page I just found on Instagram, and it just really reeled me right in, and I loved it. It's called Better Be Raw, and I want to introduce you. And can you tell us your name, and also, like, what led you down to this lifestyle of being a vegan?
Hi everyone again. I'm Zhenya from Better Bureau. I'm the founder of that service, which is meant to help people thrive on this journey and offer them complex solutions to solve their problems and unite people around this lifestyle. Uh, so I'm from Belarus. I'm actually 24, and my story starts in 1999. So it was kind of unusual story because there is no drama that I had some health issues that led me down to this path of eating raw foods and vegetables. From the early childhood, I was a very unique kid. I can describe myself as a big truth seeker and a deep thinker. I
Mm-hmm.
was I was a very unusual kid, and I was asking about my potential and possibilities, what I can possibly achieve in life, and I ate a pretty standard diet from for Belarusian people. It wasn't junk food that I'm really proud of, because in my city this kind of food wasn't available at all. So uh, I remember the time that uh, my father had some business trips
Mm-hmm.
in the capital city that that uh, made him to bring some stuff from McDonald's, and I was so excited to try it because, uh, like for every kid, it was just like a dream,
Yeah.
and I was kind of out from eating junk food, and when I was 15, I started exercising with my friends after school. I got it was I was so motivated to change something, but I know what it was exactly for me. I just need to change something new, something more active to be able to maintain my health, and just make a change, just to make a switch to something more healthier.
Mm-hmm.
And I still at junk food, not junk food, but like every normal average teenager. I ate chips, drank Coca-Cola, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care about nutrition at all. I wasn't interested in. So I I had that mindset that I need to gain muscle. I need to be bigger, and it didn't matter that what kind of weight I gain, healthier or not.
Mm-hmm.
So from 17 to 19, uh, I had that bodybuilder mindset,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, I pushed myself to the limits to gain as much as possible. And down the road, I found that I'm just tired. I'm clogged out completely, and I can function. And by the end of the working day, I felt I just can fall asleep at the desk right away.
Mm.
So And I started drinking coffee, taking into account that I didn't drink a lot of it previously.
Mm-hmm.
I had a shortage of energy and motivation.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, in 2020, I just found the book. It came to me by accident. It's a spiritual book. There, it wasn't any kind of recipe book or how we should eat. It just grew up on me, and I just took into account that there is raw food, and by the time I still eating meat, I consumed a lot of dairy products, and I thought maybe this is the right solution, to say goodbye to fatigue, to say goodbye a low energy level. And it took me a whole year just to reset my mind and get used to that idea that I can do something differently,
Mm-hmm.
that haven't been done by anyone from my family before. And I had no information about raw foods. I had no people who could possibly support me in that way. I
Mm-hmm.
was I was just a subject to judge on, to people just laughed at me because the guy who lost weight. By the way, at that time, back in the day, I lost around 15 kilos in months and a half. It was
Wow.
a, it was a drastic loss. Uh, I was I was unrecognizable.
I think that happens to a lot
Yeah,
of us when we go on the.
yeah,
Oh, wow, it's awesome.
yeah. And from that time, I decided to put everything on my side in next several years to know everything about raw foods, to know to seek the truth, because there is a lot of misconception on the internet, that we're told what we should eat, and etc. etc. So uh, I totally realized that no one could help me, and everything should be done in my own.
Mhm.
Uh, so this is
That's how it
yeah,
came to
yeah,
be. That's interesting. I think that's a really good point because I think a lot of people come into this diet where they're, have this really serious health condition or, and I think it's important that we bring your story out because you can just be someone who's looking to seek the truth as far or
exactly.
maintain prevent disease. Don't get yourself to that point, right? Like if you already don't have ailments and like also like I found I didn't come into this as like I thought I needed to reverse a big health condition, but even in just coming into it to lose weight, I realized that I did reverse conditions that I didn't even know like could be healed by food. So I think even if you're someone looking to gain health and vitality,
Any
it's important to
improvement,
work with.
right?
So you started to seek the truth and you started researching raw food, and did it kind of surprise you what you were finding? And I guess before that you were just like you said you weren't eating as much raw food. Did it surprise you what you found, how healthy it was
It
for us?
it was a total reverse of any kind, honestly, because uh, it hurt my ego, because I needed to admit that everything what I did previously,
Mm-hmm.
it was wrong. I I remember the moment when I was looking for a blender, and I needed to realize how to do it again. Such a simple thing, but what we used to do uh, from the very beginning. It
Mm-hmm.
just if anyone told you that Jen, you need to learn how to breathe again.
Right.
That's the same. It seems to be very obvious, but it wasn't at all. So I was really confused, and I didn't know where to start. What kind of book should I read? What
Mm-hmm.
kind of people should I meet? What kind of people should I listen to? And uh, I just I just want to point it out that people from Belarus and Russia are very extreme. If
Mm-hmm.
if we decide something to do, we're completely done. We're completely down and dedicated to this topic, and
Focus.
yeah, too focused. And mm, sometimes I hesitate to acknowledge that I have only 2 years of experience on the raw vegan journey because it seems too short, a very short period of time
Mm-hmm.
to be serious. But it's not,
Right.
because I was taught by Fred Bichy and others who got more than 60 years of experience, and I'm really honored that uh, I had an opportunity to learn from those people,
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
because they're very unpopular. And in terms of finding your mentor, how do you think uh, is everyone needs to find their mentor, or maybe to start with a coach to embrace their journey in the very beginning, or is it not necessary for everyone?
Yeah, I think like for me, when I actually came into this, I didn't necessarily have a mentor, but I feel like finding all the people that were online at the time, helped me to understand what veganism was, and then later on understand what the plant-based diet. And then I just learned so much. But when I got into the raw food, it just kind of made sense. And I think you're right. It has to align with you, just like that person that you're listening to. They have to align with
Yeah.
you. They can all say the same information, but you're right. I think it's so helpful because I think you can feel lost and you can feel like it's too much information. And if you can find that person like you did, like a mentor that helps to kind of bring it all together and put you on a guide
On the
you
right direction.
so you don't
On the
go the
right
other way, and think, because other people in your life are going to tell you things because they haven't done the research that you've done or that the mentor has done. So they're going to say, that's not good for you, that, you're losing too much weight. They're going to say all kinds of things because that's not how they live. So I think a mentor is very important.
Yeah. And what was the biggest misconception? Uh, what you have found on the raw vegan journey? Maybe something surprised you too much that totally changed your vision about raw foods, and what was in your case?
So in my case, I felt like I kind of came into it like I was in elementary school, in a sense, almost like it was good that I didn't know a whole lot of information. It was just like I saw this video and it was like we were trying to learn how to grow sprouts and microgreens. And then in, like, when you get in that like algorithm, this video came up in YouTube called Raw, and Dr. Bishi was actually in one of the speakers
Mhm.
in that video, and Woody Harrelson, the actor, and like so many people now. Dr. Furman, was in there, and like I know all these people now, and some of them I've even talked to. But then it was like I was like, raw foods, like what are they talking about? Like it was like I had never conceptualized not cooking my food, because that's not how I was. I mean, everybody knows you can have a salad and things, but I never thought about it being like the way we're supposed to eat. And so then I ate a lot of greens, a lot of salads, you know, and I ate very little fruit, because I think I still had that mentality that I came in for standard American, that fruit is bad, fruit is sugar. And then it wasn't until like I lost a lot of weight. 6 months later, I went back to eating rice, beans, cooked food, and I stayed like high raw, but just having a salad, you know, every day, and then having my regular food. But it wasn't until about two years ago I interviewed someone that told me about how important fruit was. And it like opened up like a whole new world to me, that took me down like the whole holistic health. And like it just like, to me now, I feel like I have a really well-rounded understanding, rather than starting out I was just eating a lot of lettuce and greens and wondering why I wasn't maintaining weight, or why it wasn't necessarily something I could sustain. And when I kind of got the whole like seed dispersal system, how fruit was how we were you know, our brain function, and eating a high fruit diet felt like it made everything kind of make sense. So I feel like we always have to keep our mind open to doing new research. And for me, it kind of like, it made sense why it kind of all clicked, how our digestive system works, that we're frugivore in nature. And for me, I feel like it's helped me to align with it. Like I align with being vegan. It helped me to make it make sense. If that, you know, like that's how I feel like we are supposed to eat. And like the first time raw, I didn't even know why. I just thought, oh, this is cool. I feel good. I'm losing weight. My back pain went away. Like, this is awesome. I don't know why, but it's cool. But then like 5 years later, like, and I agree with you, it feels like I've been vegan for so long, and it's only been about, you know, almost 6 years in April. Like it just feels like, because my mind shifted so much, that it's who I am now, as opposed to who I was all those 40 some years, you know. It's amazing.
In terms of your intuition, of your inner voice, have you experienced the change that you're more connected, and the intuition, that knowledge from the information field comes to you naturally, and maybe sometimes you don't need to ask for any advice, because everything what you need to know is already something inside of you. Do you have that feeling that you have become more intuitive because of raw foods?
Oh, absolutely. Like I feel like, how I think if we were to clear everything out of our mind and our programming, and we were to come into this world again, and we were to be given the natural foods, we would automatically know, just like a deer or a dog or whatever in the wild, we would know what we're supposed to go to and eat. We would know when not to eat, when our body's healing, just like they know when to kind of fast for a moment, and they know exactly what to eat. I feel like, because from the moment we come into the world, we're told, here, this, take the cow's milk and take this meat. You don't have a chance. And I feel like if you go through a spiritual journey with like actually having raw foods, and it makes me sometimes know, I think anyway, like sometimes I'll know I need a banana because I feel like my body might be low on potassium. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but like I feel also connected with other people in a way that I never have been, even though I'm completely different than them. Like I don't eat like them, I don't think like them, but for some reason I feel more compassionately connected to be able to help them, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, you feel like you're out of the matrix.
Definitely.
You're completely aware about everything what happens around you, so it makes a lot of sense. And for me, it's totally, I'm aligning with everything what you said. And don't you feel that cooked food helps us in that way. In comparison, what I'm trying to say, that when we eat totally raw foods, for example, 99.99%, to compare us that way to eating a little bit cooked food, I think it makes sense, because cooked food slows us down when we are too high at the highest energetic level. And
Yeah.
what do you think about it? Maybe it makes sense to you, or how do you feel that cooked food may serve us some benefits in any kind, or you call it a poison?
No, like I understand that. I've done that, research, or I've heard that research, and I do feel like we live in we live in a world where we have to make it make sense, for us. And I think that one of the things I've learned is that the way that we prepare food, like if you feel like, perhaps that you do want to get a little bit grounded and you want to have that evening of cooked food, maybe there's a better way to prepare it than other ways. I think is where I've gotten to, because initially I wouldn't even have a nut that was cooked or roasted, right? Like I was very strict, and I go through periods where I do raw, like I don't want any cooked food. And then I'd also go through periods of time where I might have some steamed potatoes, and I try to cook it as minimal. But I also have been through periods of time where I eat processed food and cooked food, and I shouldn't, and I haven't evolved to the level where I've been like 10 years on all raw, or only like 1% only steamed vegetables. So I feel like I'm still on a journey of understanding that myself, but I also feel like I can be two different people, and I do understand that, like, because it clicks with me why we're supposed to have raw food. I almost feel misaligned when I eat over processed food, if that makes sense. But I'm not saying I haven't done it, or I don't think it can. I think it might be unrealistic to change everyone from the standard American diet to a raw diet. So I do try to promote whole food, plant-based, and high raw and everything when I talk with people, because I think it has to make sense for them too.
Don't you feel guilty about that, if sometimes you just can allow yourself to eat a bit cooked food? And what changed in your mind that it's okay not to be perfect sometimes?
I think being perfect changed it, if that makes any sense. Like I think that I think the worst thing we can feel is not unforgiveness and guilt. And I don't like when other people try to make me feel that way. So I felt like, what, am I doing that to myself instead of just taking it in as part of the journey, and allowing myself to feel what it is I need. And if I felt like, I needed at that moment, if I wanted to have some steamed food, I'm not ruining any type of, it's not this race to I've been vegan for 9 hours. So I mean raw for 9 hours. So on the 10th hour I can have this. I feel like listening to my body worked better, but I also feel like we have to get to that higher level consciousness, because we can't just listen to our body when we're still kind of like, if we're trying to change our health, we can't listen to our body, because our body is going to like tell us the wrong thing when our gut biome is on, like, I need cookies, you know what I mean? So I feel like, yes, listening to your body, but in a different way. Like, if it's still aligning with your health goals, then I don't see I think we have to be human, in a sense, and we have to understand, that there's different parts of our life and different emotional things we're going to go through. But I do notice that there are times when I also feel like that I need to get out of a mentality of that I don't want to look at it as something I'm missing. you know, so I have to look at the healthy foods as what I'm adding into my life. And that has been a great deal of help for me to have almost all completely healthy food and not want to put like chemicals and things in. So I do feel a little bit guilty. I'll be honest, when I eat processed cookies and things, not to a point where I'm like okay with myself doing that, but not to a point where I'm getting down on myself and like I've ruined everything.
Yeah, because the feeling of guilt of any kind might cause more problems and hurt us much more than that food what we eat. Because what we think affects our mind much more than physical changes in most cases. And I'd like to ask you about, have you already gotten through that stage of raw food enthusiast that tries to convince everyone to go raw? Raw is the only way that everyone should follow, or it wasn't in your case?
No, you know, I'm almost like you. I've been like a truth seeker where I never necessarily like held on to their what they were telling me to do, but more or less the information that they were giving. And if that made sense to me, I maybe went all in on that philosophy. So, you know, I had to, I did it for myself, basically. Not that I feel like they were telling me, but the information they put out, if I researched it and it made sense, and like raw food made so much sense to me, I think that's why I was so strict on myself for a while to not have any cooked food, because I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do as a human. And then I think over time I realized that, you know, it's not going to be something that is a like that if I'm coming down on myself, to your point, and it makes sense to me during the holiday to have cooked food, then like to your point, that mental anguish might be more than, you know, than not just doing what it was and then just getting back on my track of where I want to be. But it's so difficult because I do also feel a lot better when I'm eating, you know, the raw, completely raw or very high raw. So it's definitely a journey, but I also feel like I won't ever eat animal products, no matter what that means for my social situation. But I have went through, you know, I'm okay with allowing myself to take that journey where it might be with different versions of the raw diet as far as, but my ultimate goal is to stay healthy and to, you know, be as
Satisfied.
yeah. So I feel like that almost is giving to myself, you know, aligning myself with that. So it's not as hard for me as it might be for someone who is not doing this because it aligns with them. You know, like I don't, when I'm on a good healthy kick, I'm like loving the healthy food. I can get so excited about a bag of oranges, the same as someone might get excited about a bag of Hershey bars. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's where it is for me. How did that journey go for you? Did you kind of go all in of raw and then
Uh, for the first time, when I decided to down into raw foods, it was around 80% raw, and I needed just to determine what the healthiest products were at that time, because I experimented a lot with junk vegan foods like cookies, whole grain bread, etc., etc.
Mhm.
Because I knew that this is not it it it's not supposed to be overnight success. It's just a long term uh, marathon.
Mhm.
So I decided. I told myself that, you know, Zhenya, just calm down, don't rush ahead, just do wherever you do that could be better that you did yesterday.
Mhm.
So this is what my strategy was back in the day. So I incorporated a lot of fruits, a lot of
Mhm.
veggies, but I still add some cookies, some chocolate, uh, everything what I love. So after a year, I increased the percentage of raw foods to 90%, and right now I'm 99.99% raw. And
Yeah.
I've never been so high. I've never been so energetic. I've never been so peppy, and I feel just I'm capable of working all day long on my projects and everything what I love all day long, and without any ups and downs. I feel so high, and there is no other ways that I could imagine I can eat right now, because I'm running Better Bureau, a service which is meant to help others to thrive on their own vegan journey. And I should say that I need to set the right example to everyone who listens to me. So it's just my inner voice. And when my in all honesty, when my mom comes to me for vacations, I can afford can allow myself to eat a bit boiled potatoes, because what we eat in Belarus, it's kind of traditional food. It's
Mhm.
kind of celebration food. In
Yeah.
each year at the table, we have cooked potatoes. So it's just a strong connection to my childhood and everything, how my mom raised me. So it just uh, it's not a form of punishment that uh, right now I'm raw, and then I feel guilty about eating a bit boiled potatoes. It's not
Yeah,
the
I
point.
find it
It
helps me to get
just
calories
just
in.
a reach in time and space that I feel the path from that point when I started to this point right now. It makes sense, because there is no time. We live in in that space that we are used to count minutes, seconds, hours, months. In it's everything is infinite. We live in a huge space, in open cosmos. So it makes a lot of sense that I knew I know that one day I'll pass away, and I need to feel alive. And
Mhm.
I appreciate everything uh, what makes me feel so. And raw food, for me, just a tool that helps me to slow down for a while when I'm so motivated, for a bit, just to relax, just to keep that connections with my family. And
Mhm.
then when my mom's vacations uh, uh,
Mhm.
got end went went end, uh, I back again to raw foods, and
Yeah.
I feel no pressure
Mhm.
from any side, because I'm living alone, and
Mhm.
it's much more easier to stick to the plan that it's right for you, and
Mhm.
you're not said uh, uh, you're not told by anyone what should you do, because the main decision maker in your head, in your mind, every time. And I have no doubts that uh, this is truly me.
Mhm.
And in your case, what would you say is your environment? Are your friends can influence you in that way, what you think about your dietary preferences?
I think, and you brought something up. I'll answer that too. But the way my philosophy works is I like to think about what we're adding. You're right. Our life is about experience, what we're adding to our life that's making it better, that's enhancing it. And I think when people say, like, like you have to eat raw food or you have to not eat I think you should want to, you know what I mean? And you have to get to a point where you're eating what you want, because that's the only way you would ever be able to keep your mind strong
Yeah.
to not give into that, like, oh, here we're all having Thanksgiving dinner. I won't have that same Thanksgiving dinner because I'm okay with it, because I know that's what my, alignment is. Right, I won't eat any of that. And they almost, after you've done it for a while, they'll know where you're coming from. But you can gel with a couple of things, like you said, the potatoes. We all can have things in common that we'll eat, but there are certain things that it's just who I am now. I think that's where we have to get to a point of where they know how much I love the way that I eat. So it's almost like it would be pointless to keep trying. In the beginning, yes, you're going to run into that a lot. So that's when it's important, though, to really, like you did, and I think I did, do the research and really be internally, make it make sense to you. That's why you're eating that way, so you won't be shifted different ways, whether it be 10 different diets or 10 different you're vegan, you're not vegan, you are vegan, you're not vegan. And like, you could just listen to too many people, and unless it's something that aligns within you, then you become that decision maker. And all that stuff around you, the storm of things can be flowing, but it's very easy. Me and my partner both, we're both vegan, and we might align differently. Sometimes one of us will be wanting to be raw, and I might be eating more cooked food dinners at that time. And sometimes it's right on the same, and the same, but it doesn't make a difference, because we don't try to push each other, as far as like, hey, you have to eat like this, even like. And I think your family and your friends, they're going to do that at first, though, because you're pulling away. They think you're pulling away from them, but it's not that you're pulling away from them. You are almost redefining the relationship with them, because it doesn't only solely focus on food. I think I really feel like now my connection with my family is almost deeper, because we are noticing that difference, like that. It's not just about we're getting together to eat that food. We're getting together to be together. And
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But I do feel like food has emotional attachment and, comfort to us. And I love potatoes. So yeah, I get that. Like, if we have that time where we let ourselves, if we want to indulge in something, we can. But like you said, the minute I'm on my own, and what I really feel good at, like you said, it's the foods that I choose to add in, which are the high, very high. I feel like high raw is like where I've kind of always fallen back into, even like starting off for 6 months raw, and then like, eating whole food plant-based with a lot of raw. And it just seems I always come back to raw, though. I've been through periods of time on cooked food. It doesn't feel right for me. It doesn't feel like I'm on the same energy level, the same healing of things in my body. I don't feel as vibrant. So like, I don't want to tell other people how they should eat, but that's, for me, what makes the most sense is a very high amount of raw food. And I think it makes sense because it is very high vibrational, energy in that food.
Furthermore, it doesn't feel vibrant. Yeah, there is no vibrant energy. But I'd like to point out that cooked food reminds us and makes us to compare what we could have felt like if we eat completely healthy, completely raw. It's just another level of energy.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't have this comparison.
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense, because we we remind we remind ourselves that there is a possibility to
Yeah.
feel at the highest energetic level all the time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like you wouldn't know what you're missing or what to
Yeah,
compare it to.
yeah,
Ask
yeah.
your thoughts in your studies. Like, you know how people say that food that it creates carcinogens and toxins in our food when we cook it. Like, does it for you when you do eat cook, do you try to minimize how much cooking time because of that? Do you believe that, or do you feel that that's like people that eat cooked food, whole food, plant based, are just as healthy as people who eat raw?
So I won't describe it very professionally, but in my case, when I every time when I eat cooked food, I feel like I'm drunk. It brings some mind fog to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand things clearly.
Mm-hmm.
My electrochemical reactions in my body slow down, and I feel like what like after the party next day, uh, like I'm not sober. I'm totally drunk, and uh, of course there are a lot of toxins,
Uh-huh.
but we can minimize it by steaming our vegetables, or in our ways
Mm-hmm.
that are not so harmful as frying uh, uh,
Yeah, or baking.
in some oils uh, uh, like fried potatoes,
Yeah.
etc. What everything was cooked in McDonald's, totally processed food.
Yeah.
So I'm not talking about this kind of poison, but we can just um, get it low as much as possible, um, doing in our own kitchens. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, I guess everything what we can do to improve, to enhance, uh, our dietary habits, to increase our health in general, by taking simple steps. For example, if someone eats junk food, McDonald's, KFC, fried chicken, just it would be much better and make a little step
Mm-hmm.
towards your goals, uh, by, I don't know, maybe make a replacement. Instead of frying potatoes, get it boiled or
Mm-hmm.
steamed. Just a little single step uh,
Mm-hmm.
towards biggest goal. It might doesn't work if we go raw overnight, and in next several months we get back to cooked food. And I I don't like going back and forth
Yeah.
uh, from I don't like uh, these extreme ways.
Mm-hmm.
I I do not recommend anyone to go extreme this way. Just single steps. That's it. But this is what we need
Mm-hmm.
uh, to succeed long term. This is the most important part that most people miss. I'm so sure that when you tell anyone about health benefits of your diet, they're so motivated to change everything overnight, and then uh, the energy, the motivations disappears, and what's next?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the more little things I think we can celebrate gets the momentum going. So like you can feel like you failed if, for example, someone tries to go all raw and they have a cooked food meal for dinner, but like your goal should be to be healthier and add more
Long term, long
fresh
term.
foods, right? Like, yeah, so like that to me makes a lot of sense. Like, okay, tomorrow instead of my regular dinner, like I'm gonna have this, or like I tell people, have your raw food meal first, right? Like I think your approach is really awesome, and I think that you would be a good person for people to work with in that reason, because you're not going to make them
I'm working on that.
extreme.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, I've just started my consulting program that I've been working on for a very long time. And could you imagine that everything what I learned, I just packed in 1 month program that includes everything what I learned, and it's meant to be very customized for everyone that wants to make a little step towards health
Hmm.
instead of doing some crazy things that they probably won't accomplish anyway. So it's a being realistic, and so uh, I'm working on that, and I'd like to share what are your thoughts on the business side of raw food, and how can we make a switch from our full-time job to making money in on our passion, on consultation, on our niches that's out there in the raw food community. What do you think about it? Any advice how to make a switch?
Yeah, like I think for me, one of the things that has been difficult, because I still haven't made that switch yet, but it's definitely something I really want to do. And I've been thinking about it a lot. And like you said, helping people kind of on the side as far as like, beta clients and things. But the thing that I think why all of us who find this information, whether we've healed from it or whether we're really ethically passionate about eating plant based, I think we want so much to give the information, and it's really more about, like, a lot of people don't come into it about making money. We're just truth seekers and want to share that truth, and we may have come up with a way to package it and understand the way that it worked for us, or the way that we feel like we can help customize it to others. But I feel like for
Mhm.
me, what I've learned, and I was just talking with my previous guest about this, is we can give all this information out. We can have our YouTube, our Facebook pages, and I think then for those that want a bit more personal guidance,
Yeah,
that's what he was saying. I was just talking with Clinton about this. Ted also talks a lot about this in his programs. Like, then we can find those people who might need personal guidance, and they can pay for that service, or to pay to get a bit more like of a personal time, for our time to their time, or to a program you've put together that they could pay for to support
yeah,
you, and you're supporting them. And I think that's
exactly.
how it has to align with us. I don't think we can hold all this information in and only give it to people that pay, because that's not what aligns with most of us in the raw or vegan world. So I think we give part of it away, and I think I'm learning that I don't have to only charge for things. I can still give away all this great information, but
Yeah,
have find something that feels right, aligns at the price that feels right for people to get better service from me.
yeah. Because most people might ask, why, Zhenya, should I pay for your service if all the information is available online for free on YouTube, on Instagram, etc., etc.? Because it's not the point of availability. It's a
Mhm.
point about how not to get overwhelmed by information outside.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the structure. It's about the system. It's about how things works all together. It's about the connections. What I found being on the journey for several years, and it's about the system, as I mentioned before. And it's so important to put several parts and bring all the things together to make it work out for you, especially for your needs, for your goals, and for your fears, what you're currently facing on your path. So and it's also not about making money. The very first thing I what I'm questioning myself, can I truly help this person, or it's just a business? And
Right.
yeah, I will never get anyone's money if I'm not sure I can help this person,
Mm-hmm.
because this is not my mission. This is not my inner voice says to me. And it's about building up the circle of confidence, building a healthy relationships,
Mm-hmm.
building making not customers but your friends. This is what makes sense to me, because I've been deceived in the very beginning when I bought a consultation from one guy from a Russian community. I I I was scammed. I
Mm.
paid for that service, and I was ghosted.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
In that time, I paid a crazy amount of money to make a consultations to make a consultation with person what I trusted in,
Mm-hmm.
and I was deceived. I was so disappointed, and uh, this is what I'm trying to change in people's mind,
Mm-hmm.
because I want people to trust me, not being an that guy that just talk on the camera how good his service is, and etc etc, all about promotions. It's about the person
Mm-hmm.
who you get the information from. This is the most important part of any digital product, in my opinion. Not only the product but the person who stands behind that product.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I completely agree. And I think that, that's important because like there's been people who've been misled like you. So, it's very important to like not jump on something. You're right to figure. I saw a post you did on Instagram, which was very nice. You had, I think it was 8
Eight tips
reasons.
how to find your
One
mentor.
was in the description, so everybody has to go to the description to get that last one. Right? I love that. But it definitely made me go there. I wanted to see what the last one was, but it was
You,
really.
you mean you mean that reel on Instagram, how to find your mentor, right?
That's it. Yes, that was good. I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Good
I
job.
was inspired by that story, how I was deceived.
That's awesome.
I've just remind I've just thought about that this morning, and I was so excited to write a post about it. So how to find your mentors, not to being uh, deceived like I was back in the day.
Right. And I think that's important too when you were mentioning why should people work with you or me or anyone. Like we have things that we've learned that we don't even know that it might be helpful to someone else that we could just assume that everyone else knows. But even if it's a mistake we've made, we can then share with someone that experience in the hopes that they won't have to take all that time or to have all that money lost or whatever it is we're trying to explain. Like I remember saying one time that when I first went in eating healthier, I would watch videos while I was preparing food about each nutrient or health benefit of the food. And like some people took that and was like, it was so helpful to them. But I didn't realize that not everyone did that, or would know that. And just like with you, that experience you had there with your experience with the way you transition by adding, more raw foods, there are people that, like you said, might try to jump in and go all in that wouldn't know that. And your journey, the things that you're going to share with people, could really align with them in their lifestyle, and how to handle other situations, social situations, and things like that. It's definitely important to have that support, and I think you could offer that, to those people who really would align with you. I think you're going to be excellent because you're doing it for, you're not just coming into this for money. You actually believe in the lifestyle. You know how to help someone transition because you've
Yeah,
done it.
because I was in their shoes,
Mm-hmm.
and this is why um, my potential clients will recognize themselves in my stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and
You'll be able
I
to
have a question for you.
identify.
Yeah, exactly. And I have a question for you. Do you think is everyone who teaches others to make transition to this lifestyle should have specific degree or not, like medical degree, or we can just trust our intuition and what works for us, or is it not enough?
Well, that's a interesting question, and I would say that no, I don't feel like there is a specific that I would feel comfortable with that everyone would need, just because there's already so many different. There's medical doctor degree. Even if you had that,
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel comfortable unless you've made realization that you've become
Yeah.
plant-based or you've become raw. Like, it's still like, I don't think, maybe we could come up with some kind of certification that would make sense of how to I would then feel comfortable with it, because it would have to be these 5 or 10 things that we help people to understand or to know the science, because it could be someone coming out with this certification that tells people to do
Yeah.
crazy diets or something, or that has misinformation about raw food, and it's like, I think just as much as there's people who are promoting raw food, there are people who also are promoting against it, just like vegan, people are anti-vegan. And then there's people who, when I start talking about raw food, they may think it's unhealthy. So it just depends. I don't think there's a certification that I feel is necessary. There's different ones, that you could certainly get, like holistic nutrition and things, but understanding our body and how it heals itself, if there was a something I would tell people to start with, that would be it, to make you feel, comfortable. But no, I think to help people mentally and emotionally, and with their transition, I don't think there is a good certification, at least that I know of. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that most doctors more aware about sickness, not health, because they were studying it all day long in the university, and so they have no idea what that truly health is, because they're too focused on illnesses, diseases, etc.
Mm-hmm.
They're not taught to be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
As you noticed that a lot of doctors, most of them wear glasses, even they taught others how to improve their eye health, etc. For example, just for instance, to bring it up, uh, not every nutritionist knows how to be fit.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and whenever I
So,
see someone say
uh,
that online, I'm a
and,
nutritionist. I'm
and
like,
I'm totally agree with you, because for a very long time, people from the very beginning knew that what is right and what is not. In ancient time, There were not medicine, not any certifications and labels. You're a doctor and you're not. I don't care because I listen to my body and I don't need to count any calories on or read on internet how many this kind of things should I eat, because I developed my intuition. The most important tool. It's my secret weapon.
Mm-hmm.
If you high raw, you don't need any advice because you already know everything.
Mm-hmm.
It might sound very selfish and you know
Right. I know what you
unprofessional, but
mean.
I can say so because your inner voice, your inner guardians, is the most important advisor. What you should listen to.
That makes a lot of sense. And do you think that I was going to say something I forgot kind of, but I think I remember now. What is the like? What will you focus on as far as also well-rounded, like other things within food? Like I know that like movement and things like that. Like, do you work out a lot, and do you feel like you eat differently based on how much you work out, or is that part of like I
Yeah,
think it's part
yeah,
of
it depends.
listening
It
to our
depends a
body?
lot. In that days when I work out more intensively, like Saturday, Sunday, on weekends, uh, I tend to eat more fats,
Mhm.
more nuts. I don't know, just I feel this way. So in our days, I yeah, I mostly eat high water fruits in the in the morning to hydrate myself, and then uh, in order not to be hungry, I just can snack on some mangoes or bananas, and uh, in the evening have a huge bowl of green smoothie or
Mm.
chocolate smoothie. So I'm fond of that, and I can be away from that enjoyment that raw foods bring to me, and I don't care if some cacao nibs are not raw. I'm totally aware that they're roasted, but this tiny this tiny piece of food
Mhm.
that I put into my recipe won't harm me in any way because I'm not so strict.
Mhm. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I think that's why it's hard to say, like, in this world, like, even like if you tried to be perfect raw, you know what I mean? Someone may never be able to have, like, because they'll say, like, nuts are all like, even if you get raw cashew or whatever it is, like people will tell you, well, that's not even really raw. So that's not a reason to make someone like feel like, oh, well, I've ruined it. I might as well go eat, 10 vegan
Hmm.
burgers because my cashew nut was cooked. So you're right. I think that little, like, I'll have, for example, frozen peas, that you can get in the store. And if they don't have like fresh snow peas or whatever, snap peas or whatever, you just like, or corn if you can't find it, or whatever it is that people want. If you have to like thaw it out or lightly steam it, I think you're right. People can get too caught up in the in the perfection of it. You're right. I like that. That's a great point that you made there, especially for people who are new. Like, what would be one piece of advice for someone who's just wanting to is starting to learn about raw foods? What would you suggest they do that they could do right away to begin the transition?
This is what my free ebook about. It's called
Awesome.
Raw Vegan Roadmap. And
Okay.
the first step, what I recommend for everyone, just do nothing. Literally, just take into account that this way of eating right in front of you. It exists, and there are a lot of people that that thrive on this journey, that thrive on eating just raw. Just take into account that it's possible, and leave the thought for certain period of time.
That's so good. I like that. And
do nothing. Do nothing. This is my advice. And when the time is ripe, you just got the thought. I want buy that piece of chicken. I want buy this part of that animal, of that part of animal. So do nothing. This is my advice.
I like that. And I actually think that if you do that and you start researching raw food and you want to go into another level like of consciousness with your diet and things, that you start to almost like feel like you said, if you do nothing and you're eating that cooked food and or that animal product and you start to like rethink it, then you're right.
It will grow up on you.
The shift
is because
happening.
Our subconscious mind will be working anyway. No, we are not. We just took into account that it's possible. It's possible to enhance our life a lot, and it's behind. This way is waiting for us to jump right into it. So when we know it's possible, we will find the courage to try it.
Yeah.
So
I like that. The best advice I've ever heard was don't do anything. I love it. This is like you guys are hearing some profound things here, but it's so true. Like I love that. I'm never gonna forget that phrase. And your ebook, we're gonna link in the. Should they message you, or do you want me to link it in the description here? How to?
You can make the link. Yeah, it's completely free, and people who there are a few people who read this book, and each of them told this is insane, because everything what I do is unique. You will find this information nowhere. Because every time when I eat, when I sit down and I start eating, a lot of ideas pop up in my head, and I can't stop writing. At that time, I'm writing 3 books at the same time, and I can't stop. It goes crazy. Because I can't stop receiving information from the alternative field, from the information field what's around me, because raw food makes me feel crazy, literally. I feel insane, and it might be dangerous. This is the most dangerous thing that I haven't faced ever. Raw foods.
That's amazing. I can see it. It's already flowing.
You feel unstoppable.
Beautiful. I can see it's already like, I'm sure you're coming up with ideas right now, probably. So we're holding you down, right? But I know we have been for a while. I guess we'll start to wrap up the interview here. I loved hearing your journey and your energy, and like I'm just, you know, we were talking about following intuition, and I only saw like maybe 30 seconds of the interview and or the video you made, and I was like, I have to reach out, because I just think he's got a lot of great ideas and like a unique approach. I think that's important, because people need that, because there's already tons of information out there, like you said, but we need a way to make it make sense and work it into our life, you know. And I think you're gonna be doing a great job of that. You're already writing ebooks, like, so we're excited. I'm excited to finish reading that. And is there anything like that you want to say in closing, or anything else, how we can reach and promote, you know, how we can promote your work or get to your work?
I would like to acknowledge and invite everyone to my Vero Vegan Lifestyle Express coaching program, because for first 5 people, I can set up a free consultation, which is worth $200 for free, and it's my changing, because this program will be will suit everyone needs, and I'm really proud of my product, because I'm all about uniqueness, and I'm not here to copy anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to be selective, and if I can guarantee that, so I'll do it. I'm completely done, and I'm here to help people, and I'm really so excited to introduce that program, because it feels like I've been preparing for this moment all my life. So
Mm-hmm.
I've never been so excited, and everything what I learned, as I mentioned before, is packed in that program. So
I love
that's
it.
it.
Awesome. And how do we well, if we get the ebook, then you'll send
Yeah.
me a message about it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Cool. Well, I feel like
It was a nice talk,
you've been
Jen,
so
and
passionate. I love your passion.
I glad to meet you. And honestly, I didn't want to dig into your personal life or make research in you, because the very first impression when we talk one on one on the camera, this is really special, and I didn't want to miss that feeling that something happens right now at this moment of time, being present, arriving at that moment, and know you to know your story directly from you,
Yeah.
not from any articles, but exactly from you.
Oh, well, thank you. And thanks for taking the time to meet with me. I
Yeah,
know you're busy working on your program and all
yeah.
kinds of videos. And so I'm like, the fact that you took time out to talk with us about everything you're doing and your journey and your approach, it really, really means a lot. Thank you. I appreciate it.
High
Have a
five.
great day, everyone. High five. Have an
Yeah,
amazing
bye bye.
was an amazing transformation, doesn't he? Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone. This was recorded, not live. So if you have comments, leave a comment and we'll definitely get to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
And don't forget Barry Bureau.
Wait a minute. You want to say that again?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And don't forget Barry Bureau.